This is a childhood dream come true for me. Flying into Camp Simba, or Camp of Lions, at Kora National Park in Kenya. With my friend Tony Fitzjohn, I'm bringing back Moogie, an orphaned lion cub to be raised and eventually released into the wild. This is momentous for Tony. It's the first time there's been a lion at Kora for 25 years. In the 1970s and 80s, working with George Adamson of Born Free fame, Tony released dozens of orphaned and captive lions here. Now he's painstakingly rebuilt the camp exactly as it was. And with me as a grateful witness, he's ready to start working with lions again.
Here comes Ken.
All this time and pain to rebuild it. All it needs now is a lion.
I suppose build the field and they will come.
If you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come.
Oh my God, the gate's opening, everything's... it's all momentous, isn't it?
Just reversing next to George's hut. Welcome to Camp Simba.
Welcome, little Moogie. For those that know and those that care, this is a massive, massive moment.
Moogie will be raised here in the compound until he's big enough to go out for walks. Then they'll try to teach him how to hunt. And when he's about 2, he'll finally be set free in the wild.
Hey, fella. Oh, he's gone.
Does that look like a bundle of fun to you?
How many lions have you put in here over the years? I know there's been a slight 25-year blip.
30 odd?
30.
Yeah.
As a young man, George was Tony's mentor. Now Tony has a protege of his own, Jamie Manuel, who'll be responsible for Moogie's day-to-day care.
He's good and solid, isn't he? There's some timber on him.
Very healthy, very
Yeah,
healthy.
he is.
You got your store and your whip and everything? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ow! Whoa! Ooh! So for 2 years I've known of Tony's passion building this place up and building the camp up. All these people have been here working, all this work and all this hardware and this machinery. It's for him. You know, he's the start of it all.
Tony's passion has deep roots. He was 25 when he tapped up at George's camp in the early 70s. Back then, he was a hard-drinking loner who drifted from job to job. But in Kora, he found a place he could call home and would stay for the next 18 years.
Do you think George was sort of paternal to you, saw this sort of rather wayward, slightly drinky lad?
Of course. He regarded me as this sort of wayward son he'd never had, and I regarded him as a dad I never really had and always wanted.
Right.
But for me, this was dream come true stuff. It was magical. We were free as the birds, and I swung through the trees and ran with the lions, and, you know, I just led this Tarzan life. I'd always wanted to.
And still are.
To some extent.
Now teetotal, Tony's taking me for a sundowner by the Tana River, where he and George often used to go.
This has always been a very special place.
No, it's just magical, isn't it? Especially at this time of night.
It was at this spot on the river that Tony successfully released Christian, his first lion, who would go on to achieve worldwide fame on YouTube. In the 1960s, when exotic pets were all the rage in London, Christian had been bought from Harrods and raised on Chelsea's King's Road. But when he became too big to be domesticated anymore, Bill Travers arranged for him to get to George for eventual release into the wild.
But he was the first lion you got to know when you tapped up here.
Yeah, he was a 2-year-old. Christian was really great. But, you know, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Christian didn't have much of a clue either. You know, we kind of grew up together in many ways.
And he went wild really successfully,
He
didn't
did, well, he did. Yeah, I mean, all we do is kind of act as surrogate mothers and just keep an eye on them until they're able to do it themselves. You know, it's not rocket science. All it needs is love. Yeah.
When Noogie's ready, this is where his life of freedom will begin as well. But our immediate challenge is to give Moogie his first meal in camp.
I'm hoping that he'll like me more because I've got the meat.
Big fella. Big fella. It's not interesting, is it?
He's licking his lips.
He's looking
about lunch,
yes,
isn't he?
Yeah. He's thinking, you know, if I dive through the middle of them, I can get the meat and both guys at the same time. That'll show him. We used to come up here, Martin, every morning when the lions are gone. And we come up here and we just look first before we walked around the camp rock to see where the tracks led off to.
At Cora, George Adamson had found the perfect habitat to raise lions. But it's also a place fraught with danger. Nearby is the border with a lawless Somalia whose herdsmen coveted George's land. The Somalis saw the Cora lions as a threat to their livestock and would often shoot or poison them, causing a bitter conflict. But despite the risks, George always remained committed to the wildlife here.
Look at the photos and the images, and everything people say about him was that he did exude something, he had something.
It was like a St. Francis thing. It was just extraordinary what happened around him. The tree squirrels would start yelling at him, the kudu would come out of it. It was in complete harmony with everything around this country.
But George's idyllic existence at Cora was about to come to an abrupt end. To his eternal regret, Tony, who was away in Tanzania, was powerless to help.
You know, it was 1989, August the 20th, and George was sitting here in the mess. There was just a German girl remaining here, and a plane buzzed over the camp, and he wasn't expecting anybody. And like a lot of people, the girl said, "Oh, let me drive the car out." Everyone loves driving these old Land Rovers, you know. "Let me drive the car out, and I'll go and pick him up. And the airstrip's not far." The car must have been gone less than 5 minutes, and he heard shots on the road, and he knew there must have been an ambush. So he got 4 of the remaining guys in camp. He put his pistol on, and went out to his car and drove down the road. He just came around this bend just in front of us here. The car was off to the side of the road here. The shenanigans were going on here. And then he saw these men stripping this woman and raping her down there. And you can only imagine his mindset at the time and how he was feeling. And he just jammed the gear into first gear, started accelerating, and just went straight at them. And George drove at these 5 men on the road with AK-47s, firing a 6-shot pistol at them. So he must have known what was going to happen. He took himself out.
This was the final straw in the ongoing battle with the Somalis in Cora.
I'd like to say he went out like a charging lion, but I think he'd had enough and he was sick of it and he took himself out. The girl managed to crawl off into the bush and just, you know, lay there, I guess, whimpering, and until the car came and found them.
George was buried next to his brother and one of his favourite lions.
I just, you know, I felt so guilty when George was killed. I knew it was going to happen, and then when he was killed, I was just full of, you know, massive guilt and sadness and everything else.
Just because you weren't here to
I wasn't
stop
here,
that
it was my
happening.
job to stop him getting clobbered, you know. And you know, I came to the funeral, helicopters coming in with the casket and, you know, full honour guard. Where were those guys when we needed them, you know? I didn't want to, but I said, could I say something? And they said, oh, there's not room, but you can be an usher if you like. So I stood at the back and just listened to it, and they had the funeral, some priest nobody knew.
Glory be to the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Are you going to tell him, or am I going to tell him?
You tell him.
No,
No, you tell him. That's not appropriate. You never met me.
Well, I think, you know. Well, George, we've got a lion, first lion back in 24 years into Kempia Simba, and I promised you I'd keep it going. Sorry it took so long, but we're back, and we're here to stay. Just so you might like to know.
He's a really nice little lion too, isn't he?
Isn't he great? Anyway.
He'd approve.
Yeah, he's chuckling away.
He'd be over the moon.
This trip to Kora is coming to an end. But before we leave, Tony and I are going to check on Moogie one more time. No one has more experience of hand-rearing lion cubs than Tony.
We get a tire in here, a sandbag, and
Just to keep his mind, stuff to play with.
something like that.
Does he know cat? Does he know cat, that fella? Oh.
And no one knows better that Moogie needs more than just human companionship.
When do you start taking him out for walks by the river and stuff?
Well, the important thing before we do that is to bring a couple of females in so we have a little pride building up here.
Thankfully, we've just heard of 3 newly orphaned cubs in Nairobi, including 2 females, which would make perfect companions for Moogie.
That's much better than us, you know,
Playing with
just
him.
playing all the time.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Not for us.
I'll be back in Kenya in 4 months' time, when hopefully the new cubs will have arrived in Kora.